Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life, the channel that's all about Wentworth. If you're new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button right now for all future updates. Don't forget, I will be doing some comment replies at the end of the video, and you will find all my social media links underneath this video. Okay guys, I hope you are all fit and healthy out there, and I hope you're all having a good day whenever you get to watch this video. In today's video, I am back with another Wentworth countdown, and I'm going to be taking a look at the 9 best season final cliffhangers. So these are the cliffhangers that happen in the final episode of each season, and seeing as there were only 9 seasons, it's only going to be 9 season finals in order of my own personal popular opinion. So grab yourself a cuppa and get yourselves comfy, and let's jump straight in. Number 9, Season 8, Part 1. Well, something had to go down as my least favourite season final, and unfortunately it was this one. Season 8, Part 1 was a story building season, and whilst the season final wasn't poor, it just didn't excite me as a whole final episode. The episode did have some great moments. I mean, we had Ferguson at a hearing where Dr. Miller first staked his career on Joan having no memory. We also had a bit more backstory on Joan when we learned that her father killed her mum in a bathtub. Lou Kelly was on the warpath after her money went missing for Reb's surgery, and she was blaming Ali. It wasn't really until the final few moments where I really appreciate this episode, because Ali ended up getting stabbed by Judy Bryant, which was a real shocker, and then Vera ordered Linda to spit bag Ferguson, causing Joan to regain her full memory. And I will admit, those final few seconds of this episode does give me goose pimples. When she looks at her reflection and says, "I am Joan Ferguson," accompanied by the haunting background music before the credits rolled, that was amazing. Now, even though that was a great moment, for me personally, it didn't feel like a season final ending. I mean, the writers ended it like that to get us all excited for evil Joan to come back for her final revenge in the following season, but knowing what we all know now just makes this season final cliffhanger a little bit meh. Number 8, Season 6. I can remember being really excited to see this after there were promotional photos of Rita having a brutal fight with Drago. I mean, this wasn't a very bad season final at all. The episode as a whole kind of closed off certain storylines, but then left us on a cliffhanger ready for Season 7. Of course, the biggest part about this episode was Rita and Drago's fight scene, where Rita completely loses it and ends up killing Drago in front of all the women. But there was also that infamous stalker storyline, and the stalker was revealed as Brenda Murphy, who ended up getting shot and killed by Channing. Will and Jake then set up Channing for burying Joan alive, which of course we all know now that it was actually Kath Maxwell, but at the time we were all led to believe that the dead body in that box was Joan Ferguson. The episode ended with a crazy Rita Connors going nuts in the slot, and across the room from her was also Mari, and Linda took great delight in telling Mari that Rita killed Drago, Mari's friend. And the episode ended with Rita and Mari giving each other a deadly stare-off. Also, there was a note that Drago gave to Liz, telling Mari who killed Danny. Now, Liz had forgotten where she'd received this note, and she ended up putting it in her memory box. All in all, it is a great episode, and the fight scene was worth waiting for, and it did feel like a chapter was closing but a new one was opening. Number 7, Season 1. Going all the way back to the roots of the show now. And this was a great season final for the first season. So Bee's daughter had been murdered, and it was Jacqueline Holt who ordered this murder, and we were all waiting for Bee to find out the truth. The episode begins with Bee finding out that Braden is Jax's son, which literally kickstarts off this final episode with a bang. Of course, the biggest moment in this episode was when Bee did kill Jax, and she is then escorted down the corridor covered in blood, with the H1 girls watching and looking very shocked. We also found out who killed Meg Jackson, and it turned out to be Frankie Doyle. She didn't mean to kill Meg, it was an accident, but she did do it. Not only that, but Liz, she knew all along and said nothing, and she even stole Meg's bracelet off her wrist, to which Liz then planted in Jax's cell, creating the start of Jax's downfall. Number 6, Season 8, Part 2. So some of you might have thought that this one would have been much higher up on my list. Well, the reason why I've put this one at number 6 is because it's a very bittersweet final episode. First of all, it's the final ever episode, which is quite sad, and it also left a lot of storylines open. Now I know some people out there, they might be a fan of that, but for me personally, I prefer endings to be concluded properly. Saying that, it is a very crazy episode with the bomb going off and taking out half of the prison. It was like watching a blockbuster movie. I think with any TV show coming to an end, the final episode can sometimes take a while to sink in. I haven't gone back and rewatched Wentworth yet, but when I do, maybe I will appreciate the final ever episode just a little bit more, but I did enjoy it. I loved Rita and Lou's fight scene, and I loved the explosion aftermath and the chaos that was going on in the prison, and I was also very happy that Boomer survived and got a little happy ending. Like I said, it was just very bittersweet for me. Number 5, Season 4. Now then, we are delving into an episode here that I really struggle to watch. Yes, I am talking about B. Smith's death, one of the most shocking death scenes in television in my opinion. I can remember going into work the day after this episode aired on UK television, and my team leader at the time came over and asked me, has Wentworth ended for good? Because literally my team leader thought that with B getting killed off, she thought that was the end of the show, and I was like, nope, season 5 has been confirmed. Now I can remember feeling very empty after watching this episode. Remember the moment where B takes her final breath and then you hear Ali flatlining at the hospital and the camera pans up and the screen goes black. You think that's the end until you hear a bang, and then Ali opens her eyes and then the credits roll with the heartbeat beeping away. It was just traumatic, it really was. There is no way the writers could ever beat this cliffhanger in shocking terms, never. The reason why I've put this at the number 5 spot is because I do find this episode extremely traumatic to watch. Number 4, Season 5. Okay, so jumping off the back of our previous entry, the Season 5 final gives us something that we've been waiting for the whole of 12 episodes in Season 5, Joan's comeuppance. Joan's time was running out. The women had already hanged her in the exercise yard. Channing was literally going to throw Joan to the women because he wanted her dead. But Joan then discovered an escape attempt and she ended up going in Ali's place. But in a twist, Mr. Jackson took the box that Joan was hiding in and buried her alive. While Joan was looking up at her coffin, she sees a sketch of B. Smith. It was revenge served at its finest, it really was. Not only did we have that, but we also had Liz poisoning Sonia Stevens with liquid nicotine, which was quite a shock, but understandable because Sonia was trying to kill her too. I love the moment when Frankie climbed out of the box. She then went over to Bridget's workplace to tell her that she loves her and that she will be back. She then runs off into the night with the city of lights behind her. I just loved that moment. And I just think it was a great season final all in all. Number 3, Season 2. A solid season final now at our next spot, and it's the episode where B escapes, goes after Brayden and kills him. I think the world cheered when B pulled that trigger. It was a storyline that had been building for the entire run of season 2. Not only that, but Joan also sets up Mr. Jackson by telling the police that he had helped Bee escape and that they were planning on running to another country together. So Mr. Jackson ended up getting arrested in the final episode. Also, Mr. Fletcher was on to Joan and he was threatening to expose her to Will. But before he had a chance, Joan had ordered her wingman Nils Jasper to run over Fletcher, which he did right outside Mr. Jackson's house. I can always remember the bang that the van made when it hit Fletcher out of nowhere. I literally jumped off my seat. And of course, after Bee kills Braden, she is brought back to Wentworth where she gives Ferguson her freak nickname and she is then crowned as Queen Bee, the new top dog of Wentworth. Number 2, Season 3. One of my all-time favourite episodes now, and of course this is the episode where Joan burns down her own prison, nearly killing herself, baby Joshua, Bee and Frankie along the way. It was a big episode with lots of fire and explosions. I think this episode is up there as one of those most nail-biting episodes ever. I can remember the scene where Joan starts the fire, but she ends up blowing the electrics. She then puts baby Joshua on the ground and tries to get her phone, but her phone goes up in flames. And as she runs back out, she knocks over like some oil or petrol right behind her. And right behind her are all those cans of explosives that start catching fire in front of our eyes. I literally held my breath for so long during this episode. There is also the moment where Joan is handing over Joshua to Bee, and then the cans explode and Joan, Bee and baby Joshua go flying in the air. It was insane. Luckily baby Joshua survived this awful ordeal, but literally only by the skin of his teeth. Joan was finally taken away in handcuffs by the police where she ends up looking like a zombie. And then the episode ends with Frankie getting out on parole and meeting up with Bridget in a hot car, and then in walks Kaz Proctor, who immediately issues Bee with a threat as she walks in. A brilliant season final. Number 1, Season 7. Yes, you guessed it. The Siege Part 2 wins hands down. This episode had everything. And when I mentioned nail-biting moments in my previous entry, this season final does the same but times 100. The episode continues on from another huge cliffhanger where we thought Sean Brody had actually shot Vera. It turned out it was Costa, and the body count didn't stop there. Sean also killed May Jenkins and almost killed Boomer. Vera then goes into labour right in the middle of this siege, and Boomer and Liz are left to help with the labour. We also have a scene where Ali shoots Mari in the leg, and she then shoots and kills Sean Brody. She then turns back around and points the gun at Mari for a second time, and I honestly thought Ali was going to kill her there and then. This is also the same episode where poor Liz dies when Boomer helps her. I mean, the body count in this episode alone was just huge. We also have the moment where Joan Ferguson rises from the dead, when she appears with a load of other homeless people, which was a huge shock that nobody saw coming. This whole episode was just one massive emotional roller coaster with a heap of nail-biting moments. I can remember feeling quite exhausted after seeing this episode for the very first time, and this is why Season 7, Episode 10 deserves to be number 1 on this list. And that was the top 9 season final cliffhangers. So guys, that was a big one to digest. What did you think of my list? Do you agree with my number 1 spot? What was your favourite season final episode? Let me know in the comments box below. I mean, up until season 7 had arrived, my favourite was always season 3, but season 7 was just something else. But I'd be really interested to hear all of your thoughts. And on that note guys, it's now time for some comment replies. Laura Webster. Wentworth is my all-time favourite show. I've seen it about 30 times on Netflix and will keep watching it over and over. It's the best. That's amazing, Laura. I love this comment. Just goes to show how amazing Wentworth is, because you're not the only one who loves to watch Wentworth over and over. I've binge watched it quite a few times. I'm not sure if I've done it quite 30 times, but I think I'm definitely in the teens now somewhere. Maybe about 12, 13 or 14 times I think I've binge watched this show. So I'm totally with you. I mean, how many other shows can we say we do that to? Not many, is it? Thank you for your comment, Laura. Nowhere Boys. Hey Craig, love the video. By the way, what episode are you up to right now? Well, Nowhere Boys, I'm not actually rewatching Wentworth yet. Me and Peter are actually rewatching Bad Girls, and we're currently coming up to the very end of season 3. Now, I do tend to do this sometimes. After a Wentworth season has ended, I kind of take myself away from it and distract myself with another TV show, because as soon as Bad Girls has ended, that is when me and Peter will go back and rewatch Wentworth from the beginning. So I always try to take a little bit of time out, just so sometimes when I go back and watch it, I forget little things, if you know what I mean. But as soon as we finish watching Bad Girls, we're going straight back to Wentworth. Thank you for your comment. And we have Cornflakes. I don't have a favourite character because it's hard to pick, but I did check out Screw and it was so good. I watched all of the recent episodes. Thanks for introducing me to Screw, Craig. Have a good one. Well, Cornflakes, I'm glad that you enjoyed Screw. It was a brilliant series. I mean, it was not on the same level as Wentworth, I'll be honest with you, but I still really enjoyed it. And I've actually made a little review on this channel. I mean, by the time this video comes out, you probably will have seen it, but if you haven't, I have actually done a Screw review on this channel. Make sure you go and check it out. Thank you for your comment, Cornflakes. And thank you all for your comments. Keep them coming, and maybe next time it will be featured in my next video. Okay guys, well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed the list, and make sure you smash that subscribe button. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.